Today is Thursday, December 12th, and again, the world seems to be moving closer to nuclear war, but we have a development along the lines of what Scott Ritter was calling for, which is that President-elect Donald Trump has weighed in on the matter of the ATACMS missiles, of which, by the way, 6 more were launched at Russia yesterday. Former CIA analyst Larry Johnson said Russia has no choice. They will have to respond, probably with another Mach 10 unstoppable Orezhnik missile strike, but who knows where. So I just wanted to share with you how insanely dangerous the conversation has become. This is an article published in Newsweek. You can see the date there, December 9th. What would World War III look like? And they go ahead to talk about nuclear war. I will tell you what it will not look like. Some of you may remember this completely absurd public service announcement produced by New York City a couple of years ago, at the time that Russia began their special military operation in Ukraine. Here's this silly woman who lives in a very nice looking brownstone in Harlem, standing outside her car, and she begins by saying, "Don't ask me how, but the big one has happened. We've been struck by a nuclear bomb. The first thing to do is get inside fast, get into a building, move away from windows." It makes me laugh. Stay inside, shut the doors and windows. An earlier thing it says, listen to the radio. Do you think anything is going to exist? If a nuclear bomb is detonated, say, some distance above Manhattan, there will be a fireball that will consume everything within miles and suck all the oxygen out of the air. And if you're in your basement, you will simply be boiled alive. And if you're not in your basement, you'll be incinerated and there'll just be a black shadow, as we saw in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But somehow this absurd little video was made to make us think that nuclear war is survivable and winnable, as Rear Admiral Thomas Buchanan told a CSIS gathering a couple of weeks ago. Now, this is from the Newsweek article, and it says here, military experts gamed out for Newsweek how they see a potential World War III starting, including key players and factors to watch as the world edges closer to the potential for major conflict. European nations have started to quietly lay down the foundations for possible war with Russia. Are you crazy? We just might be having a war with a major nuclear superpower. Let's prepare for that. As NATO prepares for several scenarios, an all-out shooting war, and the more likely but less obvious scenario that uses well-worn techniques designed to undermine stability among member states. Quote, Russia is preparing for a war with the West, unquote. Bruno Kahl, the head of Germany's Foreign Intelligence Service, said bluntly in late November. I wonder if this guy knows who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines. Might want to ask Joe Biden about that. Anyway, however, Russia is not the sole possible instigator of a conflict. Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery and former acting Secretary of Defense for Policy James Anderson told Newsweek that any major war will almost certainly result from the tensions between 5 major players: Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and the United States. Now, I have to ask, why? They're not instigating war. Iran doesn't have 1,000 military bases around the world. They're not killing American officials in America. They're not assassinating diplomats, nor is Russia, nor China, nor any of these countries. So why are they saying this is a threat? Because we are the ones provoking the threat. And here is what they really fear. This is a picture from the article. And they show here Russian President Vladimir Putin greets Chinese President Xi Jinping during a bilateral meeting in the opening of the BRICS Leader Summit, October 22nd, 2024. That's right. You now have about 22 nations. Who knows what's going to happen with Turkey, representing over 50% of the world's population, creating a new economic and security bloc. And they are, really not going to be hurt if the US imposes 100% tariffs on them, because there's a much larger economy that they can trade with. This is something that President-elect Trump better come to understand quickly, but I don't want to take away from what he finally just did. And here it is, the full transcript of Donald Trump's 2024 Person of the Year interview with Time magazine. And of course, you can't allow Donald Trump to speak without having a lying fact check. They are so sophistical. I read some of the points. For example, he referred to the Department of Homeland Security's own figure about 320, I believe it's 325,000 children who have gone missing since entering into the United States or coming through the border. And they said, well, we don't know that they're dead or sex trafficked. All right, what do you think is going on with them? They're missing. So really despicable. Does Time magazine fact check anyone else? When they interview Chuck Schumer, do they do a fact checking article? But let me show you what Trump had to say, which is important. In the interview, he says, I disagree very vehemently with sending missiles hundreds of miles into Russia. Why are we doing that? We're just escalating this war and making it worse. That should not have been allowed to be done. Now they're doing not only missiles, but they're doing other types of weapons. And I think that's a very big mistake, very big mistake. This is very important. The one reason why the Russian response to these crazy attacks where American soldiers are killing Russians in Russia because we are launching American-made missiles with American military specialists guiding them, is that this is just completely insane. So the one reason why Russia may not have a harsh response to being in a hot war with the US is if there is reason to believe that the new administration under Donald Trump is going to stop the provocations, stop sending these missiles. So I expect Russia will respond to the latest attack. I don't know how, but I am very glad that President-elect Trump is now speaking out very clearly. So what to do? As people know, there's a resolution, HR 10218, introduced by Congressman Higgins of Louisiana, demanding that we stop sending ATACMS missiles, that Ukraine not be allowed to strike deep within Russia. You should call your congressman immediately on that. The other thing which I am encouraging everyone to do, as I am now the president of the LaRouche organization, is to sign up, support the LaRouche organization, sign up and do a $5 or $10 or $25 a month recurring donation so that we can fight and we can get the policies implemented that are needed. There is a phone call tonight, Thursday, December 12th, but it's every Thursday with Dennis Speed and I believe Cliff Kirikoff, former staffer of the Senate Intelligence Committee Research Group. I believe that's what it's called. The phone number is 267-807-9605, access code 536662. The phone number again, 267-807-9605, access code 536662. So sign up, support our work, call your congressman